trying to fight them.
Well, this is America's Morning Headquarters. I'm Alex Walsh alongside Jen Carfagno, Dr. Greg Postel. And of course, we're here to break down the wildfires that are burning there in the Northwest and the impact that they're having on families far from the front lines.
Yeah, right now, some are returning home to see what the flames have destroyed. At least 700 structures we know in eastern Washington have been impacted.
Thankfully, there have been no reported deaths. And with the emergency declaration approved, help is on the way.
Well, right now, fire crews, they're working to contain 3 zones. Oh, just a terrible, terrible situation. I mean, the images, they keep coming and they keep coming, they keep coming. Homes just burnt and there's nothing there anymore. And the fires, they're still going. So many of them here in the Northwest.
Yeah, and you can see widespread Washington and Oregon, especially in eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. But the smoke got all the way over, all the way to the coast. Actually, Seattle had a lot of smoke yesterday. Today, Portland is still in the thick of it with smoke. In the thick of it, indeed. And until the fires go out, that's going to be a problem out there, or we can get the winds to shift out there as well. But as we speak, still causing issues out there. Air quality is still going to be a problem here for us as we progress our way through our day to day. Look at all the smoke here for you showing up here. This is essentially the near surface smoke that's in place here over the last 24 hours or so. We're caked in it here in the Northwest, but as you mentioned, Jen, it's spreading in far places as well. It's incredible, all the way down into Salt Lake City, getting smoke from the fires that, again, not just the ones that we're talking about, Spokane, but widespread large fires across eastern parts of Washington and Oregon. And we've got air quality concerns out there today. Near the fires, the air quality is up at the very unhealthy range, but far removed from it, you're still dealing with air quality issues. Colorado as well. You've got your own fires, and the smoke is spreading from others. Now, as we work today, you can see there is still a fire threat now. It's going to be kind of located a bit farther to the south and east from where those big fires are burning in the Northwest. But nonetheless, watch out across Utah, Colorado, some of those areas here where we do have a fire danger that's going to be elevated here for us for our day. Here's a closer look at the Spokane complex fire. And we want to show you that it's actually made up of 3 different fires. None of them are actually huge in size, but most importantly, they're affecting homes, structures, businesses, and they are 0% contained right now. Now, in some places, entire neighborhoods, they've just been torched with really only driveways that are left really behind to indicate where a house once stood there. Meteorologist Jordan Steele continues our live coverage from Spokane. And Jordan, are there new structures that are burning? I understand the fire is 0% contained, but they have been working hard. Continue to be a major problem. And it's possible that there are new fires, or the existing fires continue to be difficult to contain, considering the weather factors that we have setting up. So here's where we are over the past 7 days with the existing fires that have been in place. Very dry conditions. We've not had any rainfall, and you don't expect a lot this time of year. It is our dry season. Certainly, though, the dry times that we've had in spring, and we did have some rain during the springtime, but not enough, and that has set us up the summer now that it's been dry for drought expanding over parts of Washington and certainly in Oregon. We are in southern Idaho. We're dealing with some of the worst of the drought here in the Pacific Northwest. It's been ongoing across portions of Wyoming and Colorado, and throughout this whole area, the relatively low snow season that we have here, record-breaking low snow across many cases, led to the dry conditions that we have in place. So when you look at this forecast going forward, the ground just doesn't have a lot of humidity. We're not getting much from the atmosphere, so we get to these really low relative humidity levels. This continues today. Again tomorrow, very widespread throughout most of the West. The exception will be along the coast where we get some Pacific moisture, and that does help us with the increased humidity. And really just to the east of the Cascades, you get that benefit. But otherwise, it is dry in a very widespread way all across the West. So now we've got these dry conditions, and we look to see where are the winds going to be a factor. That was, of course, the biggest factor in spreading that fire around the Spokane area, kind of stoking it last weekend. We had those extreme winds along with the dry conditions. We'll have gusty winds out there as well, which is why we have that elevated fire risk in Colorado and into Wyoming and parts of Utah for today. Through the weekend, there will be periods of stronger winds at times gusting. By the end of the weekend, we've got another front that is approaching the Northwest, and it will again be another dry front coming our way without any rain in the forecast at all over the next 7 days here. Maybe some in Colorado. We can only hope for some monsoon rain down here.
That's right. And, heads up for that.
Well, hot and dry has been so much of our challenge across the West when it comes to the fire risk. And the Spokane complex fires have continued to burn. There's 0% containment, and it's a story that we're going to keep talking about today. We want to analyze the situation there and take a look at just to learn going forward, how do we set up defensible space around our properties?
It's key, right? And in fact, I mean, when you look at some of these homes and some of the neighborhoods and where they've been sort of situated, they're right in the middle of, forests, big trees and shrubs. And so it's tough to figure out how, you can get a space around your home when you're surrounded by so much stuff that can burn so easily.
Yeah, I asked the question to Jordan yesterday, is this an area that was considered prone to wildfire risk here? And just doing a little research, indeed. I mean, they really are. They're right on that edge, that wildland-urban interface. And unfortunately, then it becomes even more challenging to make sure you're prepared for the risks like this.
It is.
Well, the wildfires aren't bound by borders and coming up exactly because of conditions that really led to where we are at this point. Over the past week, we haven't had rain out here, and not unexpectedly. I mean, this is our dry season. Summertime is a dry time of year across the region, but you can see widespread dry conditions and the fires that are in place. This is over the past 7 days. And these dry conditions honestly go back. And most droughts are longer term. It's not necessarily just a short-term drought, but it has been dry in the short term. Some of the worst of the weather has been here across Oregon with dry conditions, severe, exceptional drought in Idaho. Mentioned that I'm concerned about this area. This is a spot that has been very dry over the past several months with the exceptional drought that has increased there. We had a tough snow year. Same thing across Wyoming and Colorado. Very low snow totals from this past winter, and that has set up for a overall dry conditions this summer. Now, not to say we didn't get any rain. We got some actually in the spring. And that's a problem because that led to some of the plants growing, and that is now fuel as it has dried out. And with relative humidities very dry every day, very low, that leads to an increased fire risk. So when you have dry conditions with the low relative humidity and mainly the low dew points, higher temperatures, and as you get more of a spread between those, that helps the relative humidities drop even more. And we are going to see heat building across the west. And then when you add wind to the situation, so now we've got the wind, now we've got the hot temperatures out there, and if there's just something to spark it, these conditions will allow a fire to develop very quickly and move very quickly if there are very windy conditions. And that wind, looking ahead, we've got that risk with winds increasing, especially as we get into the weekend. Looks like there's going to be another increase in winds Friday into Saturday across the Pacific Northwest, about the same time, too, that we're also dealing with some of these higher temperatures. So no rain as expected in the next 7 days here. There was none in the previous 7. There'll be none ahead to the next 7 in the Pacific Northwest. We do have some rain chances coming into Colorado. It's just not very widespread. And of course, you always worry about this coming with thunderstorms and, well, some thunderstorms that don't have rain that makes it all the way to the ground, those dry lightning situations. Greg, the heat is building, and that is part of the problem here in the West.
That's exactly right. Part of the problem of August. Jen and Alex.
Thanks, Greg. The heat, obviously, a big part of it. Rain, another, and just the fact that we're at the beginning of the fire season, really. This is the dry time of year. This is the hot time of year in the West. Often we see our hottest temperatures of the year, August, September even.
It's true. So you think where we are now, it could get worse out there. You cross our fingers, not the case, but you look climatologically, and that could be the case. Well, of course, the Spokane complex fires have really forever changed.
The story's not just here. Nearly 700 wildfires are burning across Canada right now.
Well, meteorologist Jacqueline Woodall joins us now from Vernon, British Columbia, where a fast-moving wildfire destroyed about 230 homes. Jacqueline, thanks so much for joining us here. Now, this is now one of the country's most destructive fires in recent years.
Yeah, thanks, Jen and Alex, for having me unscathed.
Yeah, no, indeed. I remember that conversation. And I remember at the time you were talking about how, in general, it seems like the situation has gone next level. It's not just there's more fires, it's that they burn faster and harder to escape from. We'll have to pick this conversation up again. We're running short on time, Jackie, but thank you so much, Jacqueline, for raising this. And it's a story that's not going to end anytime soon. We've got a lot of fires burning across both countries.
Absolutely. Jacqueline Woodall, there, meteorologist there with One Earth Communications. We definitely appreciate her joining us here today. Well, coming up in the next 5 minutes, the risk for extreme
mid-August.
Yeah, and zero relief in the Pacific Northwest or the West as a whole. It's going to remain a hot pattern.
Hot and dry out there in those areas, right? Oh, amazing, amazing. So we got to keep an eye on things there in parts of the West. The Spokane complex fires, they've really forever changed the landscape there in parts of the Pacific Northwest. And coming up, we're actually going to be breaking